The strongest battles you will ever fight are not in the world around you. They are in the space between your ears. And if you do not master that battlefield, everything else will master you. You know what breaks people? Not the storm, not the betrayal, not even the failure. What breaks people is the war they lose inside their own minds before they ever step into the arena. They defeat themselves with doubt. They paralyze themselves with overthinking. They surrender to fear before the enemy even arrives. And then they wonder why life feels like a series of losses they never signed up for. You were not designed to live at the mercy of your emotions. You were not created to be controlled by circumstances. You were not put on this earth to be a victim of your past, your pain, or your disappointments. But somewhere along the way, you started believing the lie that your mind is just something that happens to you like weather, like luck, like fate, and that lie has cost you years. Let me tell you something that will change everything if you let it sink in. Your mind is not your master. Your mind is your weapon. And right now, most of you are walking around with a loaded gun pointed at your own future, and you don't even realize you're the one pulling the trigger. Every morning you wake up, and the first thing that happens is your mind starts telling you stories. Stories about what you can't do. Stories about who you're not. Stories about why it won't work, why you're not ready, why you should wait, why you should play it safe. And you believe those stories because they sound like you, but they are not you. They are echoes of every wound you never healed, every rejection you never processed, every failure you never reframed. You have been carrying conversations in your head that were never true. Conversations about your worth. Conversations about your potential. Conversations about whether you deserve the life you dream about. And those conversations have been running on autopilot for so long that you think they are reality, but they are not reality. They are patterns, and patterns can be broken. Here is what nobody told you. The mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant, it will grow. Whatever you water, it will multiply. If you plant fear, you will harvest anxiety. If you plant doubt, you will harvest hesitation. If you plant bitterness, you will harvest isolation. But if you plant truth, if you water discipline, if you nurture vision, you will harvest a life that most people only dream about. But here's the problem. Most people are not gardeners of their own minds. They are tourists. They wander through their thoughts with no direction, no discernment, no defense. They let anything take root. They let anyone plant seeds. And then they wonder why their inner world feels like chaos. You have to become rootless about what you allow into your mental space. Rootless. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every fear deserves your energy. You have to stand at the gate of your consciousness and decide what gets in and what stays out. Because if you do not guard your mind will become a playground for every lie the world wants to sell you. There is a reason why the most successful people, the most peaceful people, the most powerful people all have one thing in common. They control their inner dialogue. They do not wait for motivation. They do not wait for inspiration. They build systems in their minds that allow them to move forward even when they do not feel like it, even when it hurts, even when it is hard. You think strong people do not have doubt? They do. You think courageous people do not have fear? They do. You think disciplined people do not have lazy days? They do. The difference is they have trained their minds to override the noise. They have developed a mental framework that says, I do not care what I feel right now. I care about who I am becoming. And that is the shift. That is the shift that changes everything. When you stop living by how you feel and start living by who you are becoming, you unlock a version of yourself that nothing can defeat. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young lion cub who grew up around sheep. He was raised by them, fed by them, protected by them, and because that was all he knew, he started to believe he was a sheep. He bleated like them. He grazed like them. He feared like them. One day, an older lion came through the valley and saw this young lion among the sheep. He roared at him. The young lion froze in terror. The older lion walked up to him, dragged him to a river, and made him look at his reflection. And for the first time, the young lion saw who he really was. He was not a sheep, he was a lion. And the moment he saw it, everything changed. His posture changed, his voice changed, his entire life changed, because he finally saw the truth. You have been living like a sheep when you were born a lion. And the only reason you have not roared yet is because you have not seen your reflection clearly. You have been looking at yourself through the lens of your failures, your wounds, your rejection. But that is not who you are. That is just what happened to you. Who you are is still in there, waiting, watching, ready. But it will not emerge until you change the way you see yourself. And you will not change the way you see yourself until you change the way you talk to yourself. Your inner voice is either building you or breaking you. There is no middle ground. Every word you speak to yourself in the quiet moments is either a brick in your foundation or a crack in your structure. And most of you have been speaking destruction over yourselves for years and wondering why you feel so fragile. Stop telling yourself you are not enough. Stop telling yourself it is too late. Stop telling yourself you are broken beyond repair. Stop rehearsing your pain like it is your identity. It is not your identity. It is your history. And history does not have to become destiny unless you let it. You see, the mind has this incredible ability to remember everything that hurt you and forget everything that healed you. It will replay your failures on a loop, but erase your victories. It will magnify your mistakes, but minimize your progress. And if you're not careful, you will start believing that your worst moments define you more than your best ones. But I need you to understand something fundamental. Your mind is not trying to hurt you, it is trying to protect you. The problem is, it is using outdated information. It is running software from a version of you that no longer exists. It is making decisions based on wounds that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And until you update that software, you will keep getting the same results. Think about it. How many times have you held yourself back from an opportunity because your mind said, remember what happened last time? How many times have you sabotaged a relationship because your mind said they are going to leave anyway? How many times have you quit on a dream because your mind said you are not good enough? Your mind is not showing you the truth. It is showing you your trauma. It is showing you your fears. It is showing you the evidence of old wounds and expecting you to make new decisions based on old pain. And that is why you keep repeating cycles. That is why you keep attracting the same problems. That is why you keep feeling stuck. You are not stuck because of your circumstances. You are stuck because of your mindset. And the moment you realize that your mind is not reporting facts, it is reporting feelings, everything changes. Let me give you another picture. Imagine a potter working with clay. He takes that soft, shapeless material and he begins to mold it. But here is what most people do not know about pottery. Before the clay can become something beautiful, it has to go through fire, intense heat, unbearable pressure. And while it is in that furnace, if that clay could speak, it would probably scream, I am being destroyed. But the potter knows better. The potter knows that the fire is not destroying the clay. The fire is setting it. The fire is making it permanent. The fire is ensuring that once it comes out, nothing can break it. You have been in the fire. You have felt the heat. You have experienced the pressure. And maybe you thought it was destroying you. But what if I told you it was setting you? What if I told you that every hard season you went through was not breaking you down, but building you up? What if I told you that the very thing you thought was your ending was actually your beginning? But here is the catch. The clay has to stay in the fire long enough. If you pull it out too early, it stays soft. It stays breakable. It never reaches its full strength. And that is what happens to most people. They get into the fire of difficulty, and the moment it gets uncomfortable, they quit. They walk away. They give up. And then they wonder why they never become who they were meant to be. You cannot develop an unshakable mindset in comfort. You cannot build mental strength in ease. You cannot discover who you really are when everything is going well. It is the fire that reveals you. It is the pressure that shapes you. It is the struggle that defines you. And I know you are tired. I know you have been in that fire for longer than you expected. I know you have been carrying weight that nobody sees. I know you have been fighting battles that nobody knows about. But do not you dare give up now. Do not you dare walk away when you are this close to breakthrough. Do not you dare quit when the fire is doing exactly what it is supposed to do, making you unbreakable. Before I continue, answer one question honestly. When was the last time you looked at your life and saw progress instead of problems? When was the last time you celebrated how far you have come instead of criticizing how far you have to go? When was the last time you gave yourself permission to be proud of yourself for still standing? If you cannot remember, that is the problem. If you are still listening, something inside you is waking up. There is a version of you that has been buried under years of doubt, fear, and survival mode. That version of you is not weak. That version of you is not fragile. That version of you has been waiting for permission to rise. And today, I am giving you that permission. You do not need anyone else to believe in you before you believe in yourself. You do not need validation from the people who rejected you. You do not need approval from the ones who walked away. You need to activate the truth inside you that says, I am here for a reason, and that reason is bigger than my pain. Your mind will try to convince you otherwise. It will remind you of every time you failed. It will replay every moment you were humiliated. It will whisper all the reasons why you should quit. But you have to learn to talk back. You have to learn to challenge the lies. You have to learn to say, that is not who I am anymore. See, most people lose the battle because they never fight back. They just accept whatever thought shows up. They just agree with whatever feeling dominates. They surrender before the war even starts. But you were not made to surrender. You were made to conquer. And the first territory you must conquer is your own mind. Here is what I have learned. You can have talent and still fail if your mind is weak. You can have opportunity and still waste it if your mind is undisciplined. You can have potential and still die with it inside you if your mind is filled with fear. But if you develop a mindset that refuses to quit, refuses to settle, refuses to believe the lies, nothing can stop you. Not poverty, not rejection, not failure, not even time. Because the right mindset does not eliminate challenges. It transforms how you respond to them. The right mindset does not remove pain. It teaches you how to grow through it. The right mindset does not make life easy. It makes you strong enough to handle life at its hardest. Think about a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, it does not immediately become a tree. It sits in darkness. It is covered by dirt. It is pressed down by weight. And if that seed could think, it would probably believe it is being buried. But it is not being buried. It is being planted. And there is a difference. The seed does not know that beneath the surface something is happening. Roots are forming. Strength is building. A foundation is being established. And all of that happens in the dark. All of that happens in the hidden place. All of that happens when nobody is watching, when nobody is applauding, when nobody even knows you are fighting. You are not being buried by your circumstances. You are being planted. The pressure you feel is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to develop you. The darkness you are walking through is not your end. It is your beginning. But you have to stop interpreting difficulty as defeat. You have to stop seeing delay as denial. You have to stop thinking that struggle means you are off track. Some of the greatest growth happens in the worst conditions. Some of the deepest strength is forged in the hottest fire. Some of the clearest vision comes after the darkest night. But you will never see it if you quit in the middle. You will never experience breakthrough if you walk away during the breaking. Your mind wants to protect you. That is its job. But sometimes protection feels like limitation. Your mind will tell you to stay safe, stay small, stay comfortable. And if you listen to that voice too long, you will spend your entire life in a cage you built for yourself. You have to teach your mind that discomfort is not danger. You have to train your mind that fear is not a stop sign. You have to reprogram your mind to see challenge as opportunity, rejection as redirection, failure as feedback. Every setback is setting you up. Every closed door is protecting you from something that was not meant for you. Every delay is giving you time to become who you need to be before you get what you're asking for. But your mind will not see it that way unless you train it to. And that training does not happen once. It happens every single day. Every single morning when you wake up and your mind starts feeding you lies, you have to stand up and feed it truth. Every single moment when doubt tries to creep in, you have to replace it with vision. Every single time fear whispers that you cannot do it, you have to roar back that you already are. This is not about positive thinking. This is about powerful thinking. This is about building a mental fortress that nothing can penetrate. This is about becoming so solid in your identity that external chaos cannot shake your internal peace. Let me tell you about a blacksmith. When a blacksmith wants to create a sword, he does not just shake the metal once and call it finished. He heats it. He hammers it. He heats it again. He hammers it again, over and over. The metal goes through fire and pressure repeatedly. And every time it does, it becomes stronger. Every time it does, it becomes sharper. Every time it does, it becomes more refined. Now here's the interesting part. If you walked into that blacksmith shop while he was working and you saw him hammering that piece of metal, you might think he is destroying it. You might think he is being harsh. You might think he is being cruel. But the blacksmith knows something you do not. He knows that the only way to create something that can cut through anything is to put it through everything. You are that sword. And life has been the blacksmith. Every difficulty you faced was a hammer strike. Every loss you endured was the fire. Every betrayal you survived was the refining process. And right now, you might feel beaten down. You might feel worn out. You might feel like you have been through too much. But what you do not see is that you are being sharpened. You are being strengthened. You are being prepared for a level of life that requires this exact version of you. The version of you that has been through fire. The version of you that has been under pressure. The version of you that refused to break even when everything around you was breaking. That version of you is dangerous. Not dangerous to others, dangerous to limitations. Dangerous to mediocrity. Dangerous to every ceiling that tried to stop you. Because you have developed something that cannot be taught in a classroom and cannot be bought with money. You have developed a mindset that can defeat anything. But you have to own it. You have to step into it. You have to stop apologizing for your strength. You have to stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. You have to stop dimming your light because people are not ready for your brightness. The world does not need another person playing small. The world does not need another person hiding their gifts. The world does not need another person waiting for permission to be great. The world needs you to rise. The world needs you to step up. The world needs you to walk in the fullness of everything you were created to be. And that starts with your mindset. That starts with what you believe about yourself when nobody is watching. That starts with the conversations you have in your head when you are alone. That starts with the decision you make today to stop being a prisoner of your thoughts and start being the architect of your future. You want to know why some people succeed and others do not? It is not talent. It is not opportunity. It is not luck. It is mindset. The person who wins is not the smartest person in the room. It is the person who refuses to quit. The person who succeeds is not the most gifted. It is the person who believes they can even when the evidence says they cannot. The person who breaks through is not the one with the most resources. It is the one with the most resilience. And resilience is not something you are born with. Resilience is something you build. You build it every time you get knocked down and choose to get back up. You build it every time you face rejection and choose to keep going. You build it every time your mind tells you to quit and you say, not today. Resilience is a muscle. And like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. The more you challenge it, the more it grows. The more you push it, the more capable it becomes. So stop waiting for life to get easier. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for all your fear to disappear. It is not going to happen. Life is not going to stop challenging you. Fear is not going to stop showing up. Doubt is not going to stop whispering. But what can change is your response. You can choose to let fear drive, or you can choose to drive despite the fear. You can choose to let doubt paralyze you, or you can choose to move forward in spite of the doubt. You can choose to let your mind control you, or you can choose to control your mind. And I am telling you, when you make that choice, when you decide that you are going to master your mindset, no matter what it takes, you become unstoppable. Not because obstacles disappear, but because you become the kind of person who does not need obstacles to disappear in order to move forward. You become the kind of person who sees a closed door and looks for a window. You become the kind of person who hears no and understands it as not yet. You become the kind of person who experiences failure and extracts the lesson instead of internalizing the loss. That is the power of a transformed mindset. It does not change your reality, it changes you. And when you change, everything around you begins to shift. Look at the trees. In a forest, trees do not grow because it is easy. They grow because they have to. They push through hard soil. They compete for sunlight. They endure storms. They survive droughts. And the stronger the wind, the deeper the roots. The harsher the conditions, the more resilient the tree. There are trees that have stood for hundreds of years, not because they avoided storms, but because they learned how to withstand them. Their strength was not built in perfect weather. Their strength was built in survival. You are like those trees. And every storm you have weathered has made your roots go deeper. Every hardship you have endured has made you more resilient. Every season of struggle has prepared you for a future that requires exactly this level of strength. But you will never see it if you keep focusing on the storm. You will never appreciate your growth if you keep replaying your pain. You will never step into your future if you keep living in your past. Your past is not your prison. Your past is your proof. Proof that you can survive. Proof that you can endure. Proof that you are stronger than anything that tried to break you. And if you survive that, imagine what you can create with a mindset that refuses to be defeated. Imagine what you can build with a mind that is focused on possibility instead of limitation. Imagine what you can become when you finally stop fighting against yourself and start fighting for yourself. This is your moment. This is your time. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are finally ready to stop waiting for perfect and start working with what you have. You have everything you need. You have the strength. You have the resilience. You have the capacity. What you have been missing is the belief. The belief that you are capable. The belief that you are worthy. The belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. And today, I am here to tell you that you can. Not because I know you personally, but because I know what is inside you. I know that the same force that created mountains and oceans and stars also created you. I know that you were not designed to fail. You were designed to rise. But you have to make the decision. You have to choose to believe it. You have to choose to fight for it. You have to choose to build a kind of mindset that looks at impossible and says, watch me. You grow in silence. You heal in silence. You rise in silence. And one day, people will look at you and wonder how you did it. They will ask you what changed. And you will smile because you will know what changed was not your circumstances. What changed was your mind. You stopped believing the lies. You stopped accepting defeat. You stopped waiting for permission. And you started building a mindset so strong, so fierce, so unshakable that nothing could stand in your way. That is who you are becoming. That is who you have always been, beneath the doubt, beneath the fear, beneath the pain. That is the real you. And the real you is ready to rise. So rise, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Now, right now, in this moment, make the decision that you are done living beneath your potential. Make the decision that you are done being controlled by your mind. Make the decision that you are going to build a mindset that can defeat anything. Because the truth is, you were born to win. You were created for greatness. You were designed to overcome. But none of that matters if you do not believe it. None of that matters if you do not activate it. None of that matters if you do not step into it. So step into it, own it, walk in it, and watch how your entire life begins to transform. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Your mind is your battlefield. Your thoughts are your weapons. Your identity is your armor. And the moment you get those three things in alignment, you become a force that nothing can defeat. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your opportunity to stop surviving and start thriving, to stop reacting and start creating, to stop being a victim of your mind and start being the master of it. Build that mindset. Protect that mindset. Live from that mindset. And watch how everything around you begins to shift, not because the world changed, but because you did. If this message spoke to your heart, share it with someone who needs hope today. And if you want more messages that grow your soul, subscribe, because your journey has just begun.